We have an interesting artist with us today. She is a designer and illustrator, founder of TG Inspires, a company that focuses on holistic and spiritual art and design. Hi Tines, welcome to Borak Seni.
Hi Adele, thank you so much for having me here.
It's good to have you with us in the studio today.
Likewise.
Tines, can you share a little bit about your background?
Well, okay, to start off with, I've always been curious with art and design journey since I was a kid. The thing is, you could say that I am sort of the one and only started this journey amidst my family. All right, so there was no really proper guidance apart from the exposures that I received outside. So I started off with self-taught, and then eventually I picked that up as my main passion. I had to convince my father to say that please let me continue my journey in art and design, and then he allowed. He said okay, because at those times, you know, when you talk about art and design, there's this typical stereotype saying that we could not make it in the industry and things like that. Yeah. So long story short, I've gained a degree in graphic designing, and then I was working in have some experience in the graphic design agencies, studio houses, advertising studios. And then eventually some life incident took over, and I realized that life is too short, and we have to be grateful at the state that we are, despite whatever the hurdles and struggles that come, what may. And here I am.
Yeah. Your artistic style is quite interesting. It's very colorful and fascinating. Could you share a little bit about your artistic style?
Well, to say artistic style, see, to be honest, I don't really fix myself into some art styles or nuances. But I've always believed in this philosophy, going with the flow, channel your flows.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so when the flow happens, the visual will start playing in front of my eyes, and that is what I grasp in, and I start putting it into papers, digital illustration and whatnot. The style, I would say, is a little bit more on the color channeling, vibrant, you know. There's a lot of multi-layers of work, which is what I truly enjoy when it comes to working on these processes. I believe in not the end of the product. What is this specific artwork is going to teach me prior to my journey of life?
I see.
Yeah. How is that going to add a positive benefit or negative? In fact, it's part of the lesson, isn't it?
Okay.
So I take that and try to stick to this narrative, because we are in the industry. We are coming up with work, by the way. So I would say narrative aspect, narrative illustration.
I see.
Focused on feminine supremacy. That is one of my favorite aspects of when it comes to artwork. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So our topic today is quite an interesting one. Can I know what is your perspective that makes an artist outstanding? Is it important for an artist to be outstanding?
I would say yes and a no. See, when it comes to my part of life, there is this one question that I always will get back to myself. At the end of the day, who are you and what are you trying to create in the first place as an artist? All right. Of course, there is some questions that I want to make an art into a career. Now, that is where the strategy of things, the technicality aspect that you need to weigh the consequences of what you're going to do. So I would say one of it is always you have to practice and master whatever the skills that you are working on, be it illustration, be it fine art, or of course I come from a graphic design background, if that helps, because in the graphic design perspective, when it comes to an artwork, it's about solving. You provide solution to the task. So applying those elements into illustration or this art projects that I work to, it kind of goes back and forth, because that's where the flow of things comes through, right? Yeah. So that's one of the elements. Second is to put yourself out there.
Just for recognition.
Correct. Yeah. So just creating, coming up with work, it is great for a sheer of passion.
Yeah.
But when you want to put yourself out there, you need to sell yourself. What makes your work different? What makes your work good?
Yeah, and I think it's important to be an outstanding artist. if you have good attributes and quality, which is outstanding. For example,
Definitely.
being creative and you have your own originality, that itself makes you an outstanding artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which comes to the later part,
Yeah.
hard work.
Hard work.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of hard work involves. Sometimes I would have to add this, there is a little sacrifice you need to put for yourself. Sometimes the journey in art can be a little lonely because there are times you need to spend hours and hours
Yeah, the
to perfect the craft.
consistency and the
Yes.
dedication. You have to
Yes.
put in the hours of work.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
But
see.
I believe once you've reached that benchmark, you've reached the stage, because of course, art is, it's an endless journey, but once you reach a certain stage, you know that yes, I've made it, and now you try to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And of course, you cannot exist without a community and network of your own friends and
Definitely.
artist sphere.
Definitely.
Yeah, because these are the people who are there to give you an open criticism, which you need a high, I would say, do not take it personally, because sometimes these advices, this criticism, it only shapes you better.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, if you take it in a positive way.
Take it in a
because
positive way,
sometimes the
correct.
criticism could be demeaning you or sometimes belittling you.
Yeah.
But there are certain criticism that are constructive.
Correct.
That is able to shape your mind and the way that you
Exactly.
are. And that also helps you to produce, quality work. Quality work that you can refine your skills and your techniques. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it depends on the individual, how they accept criticism.
Exactly. I mean, you take it all in, and then at the end of the day, ask yourself.
Correct.
You have to keep constantly do that. So also one of the things I would like to add, self-motivation, because that is one of the things I would say our mind can be
Everyone struggles. Everyone struggles in
a greatest gift, or it could be your greatest enemy also, because you have this constant mind voice that says you're not good enough, what you're doing is wasteful, stop
you
listening to others. Yeah, so I would say take that all in, absorb it, but you don't have to make that as part of your belief system, right? And then try to convert that into a positive aspect, a positive journey into your life, and apply that into your art. So there's a lot of transmute processes happening. All this comes with the experience and the years of mastery of work that you do.
Yeah. And I also think another point of being an outstanding artist, that you have influence and impact. Right?
Definitely.
I mean, your work.
Your work becomes part of, I would say it's culture, because as you create work, you are actually creating legacies.
Yeah.
So when you create a legacy, you will never know your work becomes an inspiration for others.
Yes, exactly.
For them to pick up and grow. So this is an endless cycle. Yeah.
And Tines, what do you think are the disadvantages of being an outstanding artist?
So to make yourself into this sphere of perfectionism, stress comes in as well. Stress, anxiety. And then, like what I said earlier, the negative feedback into your belief system, how well you are tending to absorb. I would say, in my experience, the most challenging aspect I would have gone through is during the COVID time, where there was no interaction with other artist friends, because that's where we try to pick up inspiration, right? We meet our friends, we go and visit
sharing
this,
ideas.
museums, bookstores, art exhibitions, all that is nada. And you are confined into that four space of wall. So how are you going to challenge your thought? How are you going to expand your horizon? Of course, you will manage to find a solution in a way. The another disadvantage is because you've taken this path as a career, financial stability will be one of the element as well. Some days are good, some days are, I don't know, what am I doing? I'm not earning a single penny. I need to survive. So these are the little things I believe in time to come the artists need to put in. They have to stand somewhere in the middle and decide where they have to go through. It is a sad thing to know that some of the artists, they totally give up their career, their path, just because they have all these hurdles and struggles. Because each of us have our own facets of life, facets of difficulties. But this is where I would like to keep reminding all my friends and all the artist peers and the younger generations, in fact, ask yourself, where do you come from? What makes you like art in the first place? Hold on to that thought, and then from there find a solution how you can expand your craftsmanship, how you can expand and put yourself out there.
Yeah, and I also think that another disadvantage of being an outstanding artist is that you have creative burnout because the expectations of the clients are
That
there.
is one
That
of
it's
the-
like you have to produce good work.
Definitely.
I mean, the expectation is just way high, and then you feel that you're not up to par, and you can't meet the requirements. I mean, there are times that you face that also, right?
Adele, I'm here in this full-fledged makeup, beat on face. Back in the studio, I'm like with my scrambled hair and with the burnout and with the eye bags. Only, there are times to fulfill the project deadline or to get an idea, you end up going sleepless night. But those are the times, but when it comes to the result, it's often rewarding. This is where the legacy comes through. This is where the betterment comes through. This is where you put yourself, the mark out there in a way that you felt that, yes, I have done something, I've solved something, I've contributed something as in the way of expressing my work, as an outcome.
Yeah, do you think competition between the artists is also a disadvantage because
Definitely.
you have competition, and then you try to make better art, and then you cannot reach that, right? Do you think that is also a disadvantage?
100%. 100%. So this is where you have to keep constantly question yourself, right? Sometimes your competitors turns out to be also your friends because they turn out to come up with better works, and then that's where you'll have this mind voice telling, oh my goodness, her work is better than mine. How am I going to put my work out there?
Correct.
But this is where your role as a better self comes in. Support your friends' work, because you don't know what journey they have gone through to achieve their craftsmanship,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So support them, encourage them, be there for them. By encouraging them, it's a boomerang effect. You also self-encourage yourself.
I
Right?
agree with that.
Yeah. So with that, you rise together. Definitely, at the end of the day, each of us have our own styles, has our own art flow, I would say.
Yes,
So
agreed.
once you reach that, you will know that your work is truly unique. Hold on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tines, it was a great discussion. Now, let's move on. Can you share with us what are your challenges or struggles as an artist, being 15 years in this art industry?
22 years.
Oh, I'm sorry, 22 years. I'm pretty sure that you had a lot of challenges and struggles. Can you just share a bit?
Sure. Being in this industry, the one first challenge that you will always face is the creative flow. Whenever the brief that's been thrown to you, regardless graphic design project, which is what I work with, or illustration work with the narratives that the client requests, or even some of the paintings that I do, because there are some works that I put for exhibition.
Yeah.
So I have to keep changing multitask myself, my thoughts, my mind frame towards these three facets of, I would say, creative field, for an example. So as I've mentioned earlier, my personal philosophy is flow. But sometimes when it comes to the flow and putting your work out there, that is where you go okay, am I doing the right thing? So I will, for this, I would say the part that I will always solve is coffee. Coffee always works. And mind map your approach of work, because everything, if it's in your mind, sometimes that's where you get stuck or the creative burnout will take place. So I would say mind mapping. Another challenge I would say is the perception of when people see your work, aka client.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes they have ideas. Some clients, they're willing to work with you, but sometimes they could not explain or they could not project to you, I wanted it in such a way.
Okay.
As a designer or as an artist or illustrator, in fact, it is your responsibility to, whenever the brief has been given to you, of course, they trust your work. They have seen your style of work.
Yeah.
So you want to show them, look, this is the brief and this is the solution I have. You have to come to an agreement point. Of course, all this comes from the year of experience you have worked when dealing with clients or people outside, right?
Yeah, so you kind of like can guess what they actually.
Yes, exactly. So this is where the experience comes through, your skills. Another challenge I would say is also technology, technical expansion. So where being an artist, you're not just confined. I don't confine myself into the tools of just drawing on a
So you
surface.
diversify.
I work with digital mediums as well. I work with traditional mediums, and then how I try to marry those styles, combining traditional and digital medium, to see what effect or what I'm trying to achieve the target, right? Also, we are in this fast-paced world. There's a lot of technologies are taking in place.
Yeah, and I think it's important to explore and experiment every time because things keeps changing, expectations keep changing.
Exactly.
So you still have to meet the requirements of the client and the expectation is there.
Exactly.
So if you're able to produce good quality works, whether it's traditional or whether it's digital, you're able to blend it.
Yeah.
That's an added advantage.
Added advantage. I would say in that context, time investment is also another struggle because as a human being, we are trying to achieve personal life work balance, which is sometimes it can be a little impossible. We say live art, breathe art, sleep art, eat art kind of a perspective. But this is where your health and mental check must always
I totally
be on
agree
par.
with that.
Yes. So eventually, as time goes by, of course, during the youth time, you end up not sleeping 2 to 3 days. You really enjoy the process of work, but it will eventually, if you're not careful, the health will start taking a toll for you.
I agree with you.
When you have a healthy mind, healthy body, then you can generate good, healthy works for
Focus
yourself.
better.
Exactly. So take into that consideration as well. So these are the things that I would say I've learned. Of course, there are many. I would say these are the essential perspective that I would think any creative people would have faced. Yeah.
All right, Tines, my last question to you. Do you have future projects that you'd like to share with us? Anything in the pipeline?
So at the moment, I'm really diversifying myself. There's one of the other aspect that is also happening to me, which is part of my quest in being in this art journey is also a self-discovery, which it could be very spiritual, I would say. So in that aspect of things, I wish that this spiritual journey of mine or the discoveries I make, I could share to the other artists out there. So somehow I've also involved as a light worker as well, where I work with energy works. And this is where the importance of work-life balance, the information that I've shared to you, it matters, right? So that is one of the facade that I've been currently working on. I do have some personal exploration whereby I would love to work on series of illustration because normally when it comes to illustrating, you end up doing clients' work. Yes, we do some practice, but not your own special projects, your own narrative. So that is something I wish to work. There's this one project I have in mind, so I will keep it as a secret for now. But it is something to do with my life and my family, my circle of friends, those who have always been there for me and how they have helped me to shape who I am as per what I am right
that's
now.
quite interesting.
Yes, and how does that convey into all the illustration work that I'm going to create? So wish me luck.
Good luck to you.
Thank
And
you.
the very best wishes to you.
Thank you so much.
Tines, thank you for sharing your valuable inputs. I'm pretty sure that the listeners out there have gained some understanding or have some takeaways. So thank you for coming to Borat Seni.
Adele, thank you so much for having me here. I had lots of fun. So thank you once again.
You're welcome.
Yeah.